let's go back to scene 1 here.
We're live.
That'd be a good idea. We're just making sure that we're live. See, there we go. Must have a default thumbnail. Look at that. Cool.
Oh, wow.
That'd be a good idea. All right. We're just making... Cool. So I'm going to pause that there. And we're going to say hello here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey, you guys.
All right. I'm going to stop chewing my gum because that's going to sound terrible on the audio. So
Good call.
Yeah. All right. So we are live on YouTube. YouTube gets to see us do things that we should never really do in public. This is our live recording session of our newly named GG podcast.
GG.
GG. LOL bio.
BRB bio.
I LOL bio.
LOL bio.
Yeah. Exactly. We're going to go ahead and actually start recording the podcast as if we're doing the podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that's why you get all this extra stuff at the beginning. So I'm going to take a sip. Why don't you make some funnies?
So a mage and a priest walk into a bar.
Where are you going with that?
I have no idea whatsoever. I'm just waiting for you to finish your water.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right.
Ew.
I had an itch.
Ew, you have ickies. We're live, bro. Freaking what? I don't know if we can cuss here or not. Neckbeards.
Well, you can cuss on YouTube, but it's not going to make the actual podcast if you cuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. So yeah, here we go. Let me make sure our volume is kind of low. Check. Let's crank that a bit. Check.
Checking it out. Checking.
Hello.
That sounds a little better.
Hello.
I dig that. Because we're hearing what they hear, yeah?
I believe so.
So.
Well,
Hope so.
we are if I actually hit play. Make sure that we're live. See, there we go.
Oh, okay. I got you.
We're just...
What?
Catch up.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah. So yeah, here we go. Let me make sure...
Hope so.
We are if I actually hit play. Make sure that we're live.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hello.
That sounds a little better.
Hello.
I dig that.
Too much.
Because we're hearing what they hear, yeah?
I believe
so.
that's the
So.
frappiness
Well,
that
hope
we
so.
we are
Frappy.
if I actually hit
We
play.
don't want the frappy.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Now we're good.
Solid.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's do this.
Rockin'.
Okay. Whoa. I'm working on a giant screen, like always. And it gets a little overwhelming when I do a full screen on accident.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
Sean's face in my face.
way too much Sean in my face.
Okay.
That's what she said.
No. I don't think anyone's ever actually said that, Sean.
Just doing a little mic adjustment, you know?
Is that going
Just
to
doing a little.
Okay. All right. We have a half an hour from now to cram all these things in. So here we go.
Do it.
Hey, everybody. This is Josh with eciov.com coming at you live here on YouTube and later on our eciov.com podcast.
And my name is Sean Caspian, geek extraordinaire. Catch
Pretty
me
fellow.
on YouTube and pretty fellow.
Pretty fellow.
Catch me on YouTube, youtube.com/the Sean Caspian for all the geeky awesome in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our newly titled GG podcast.
GG.
We used to be Monday at 9. We are no longer Monday at 9 because we didn't really want to keep that name.
Yeah, it was an inside joke. Didn't make any sense.
Nobody understood it.
Nope.
Most gamers are going to get GG.
Yeah, I would expect.
So
Hope so.
if you don't get GG, you may not want to watch this podcast.
Call us for help.
I'm just saying.
We can.
So,
We will.
anyways, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We are doing a condensed version. I know before we used to do 30-plus minute shows.
90.
So we did
30
a few ginormously long shows, but we're not doing that anymore. This will be 30 minutes or less, so you can listen and not have to set aside your whole day to do it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right?
If you want to read along with the show notes, the stuff that we talk about during the show, you can do that at eciov.com/gg/7. This is episode 7. That'll get you directly to the super long version of that title, /GG/7.
El Siete.
Indeed. All right. So as you can see behind me, all of these images and such are what we're going to be talking about. They're not exactly in order, but,
Looks good.
Sean, why don't you talk about the first game?
All right. So first on deck is Street Fighter V. So
What?
Yeah, Street Fighter V been a long time coming. There are a lot of Street Fighters out there. This is the official number 5, though. I don't actually know how many there are. There's like 5, but there's a lot. There's like Alpha 3 and Super Alpha 3.2 Beta. It's crazy. There's a lot.
Well, aren't there some like console versions that are specific to certain things, like like even mobile stuff too?
Yeah, there's just all kinds
Lots
of
of
content out there. So this is the 5th official iteration in the series, and so it came out a week ago today, and I gotta say I have some mixed emotions about this guy.
Oh,
I really do.
yikes!
So I do some streaming on my channel, and I've been trying to get back into that. Had some life stuff happen lately, so I was like,
Life
really
happens.
excited to get Street Fighter V like on day one, get that streaming, get that up, show people what it's like, experience it for the first time with all of my viewers.
Yeah.
And
You played it, and what happened?
nothing.
Well, something happened.
Even nothing technically is something.
True.
So, no. So I so first off, let's talk about the single player a little bit. Now, I there are some aspects of the game I haven't explored as of yet, but the single player initially was just drab. It was totally dull. I tried facing off against the computer with various characters in story mode. And story mode, I just thought was sad. It's like these little tongue-in-cheek comic book strips of a story. There's not even any animation, really.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't even think the artwork is all that good or anything.
Oh.
And the story is, I mean,
Well,
just
yeah. So,
forgettable.
I mean, if you're going to pull off the comic book stuff, it has to be epic.
It just has to be. It's like got to be like McFarlane or Michael Turner or something.
I mean, anybody who's skilled in that style, if you will.
Yeah.
But I don't. I honestly, I haven't played it. I have no desire to play it. The whole 1v1 fighting games have never been my favorite. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you'll know that I'm an MMO and FPS guy.
And
I
I do a lot of fighting games,
Yeah.
actually. They're definitely in my mix. I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan.
Yes, you are.
Very good game. Very good game.
You stream that a lot, don't
Yep,
you?
I do. I do stream that a lot.
Every time you stream, I get a notification on my Twitch app that says Sean Caspian is streaming now.
Streaming now.
I was just like, oh well,
yeah, so remember to check
turn it
out.
on.
So the single player is just totally drab.
Okay.
No story of note or anything, and then the computer was disturbingly easy to fight. And I'm not a Street Fighter expert. It's been since
And comparatively to Mortal Kombat, since they're basically the same game. I know. I said that. I did. So you're saying that this is simpler than Mortal Kombat's fighting?
No, it's
Or-
got a deep fighting mechanic overall.
Okay.
But the computer that I fought, I'm not an expert at Street Fighter yet.
Right.
And I just plowed through everything I tried on the computer. It was gross. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of no fun. But the reason why I was even touching the single player, because fighting games to me are all about multiplayer.
Right.
It's just like your real-time strats, like StarCraft and all that.
Yeah.
It's all about the multiplayer. So I was like really super excited to give that a shot. And oh my God, you could not get in to save your life on day one. Capcom servers just
So
done.
they just didn't prepare for the onslaught.
They did not at all.
It reminds me. I mean, yeah, it's old now, but it reminds me a lot of the GTA 5 online.
Yeah.
Just some people got in, and others just slam their face against the TV.
Or problems that you might have with like an older iteration of Warcraft or something.
Right, for sure.
But those problems have since been pretty much alleviated.
Yeah.
And for Capcom to come out of the gate with this game that's really being touted as an esports, like the thing for esports.
No
that's
way.
Like, yeah, that's how they're touting it, and you can see it in their UI and their setup. They really, really, really want this game to be like the thing that people do on a worldwide level in terms of fighting games.
But
and
it sucks.
It really, I was so disappointed. Even if everything worked, okay, you gotta go back to
get
the
rid
roster.
get rid of the glitches. I mean, it wasn't fun.
It was mostly kinda when I finally got it to work.
Oh boy!
About 5 days later, I tried every day and could not get it to load. Not only that, but I think part of it could even be how they built the interface. So you have to go in and you have to go look for a match, right? Well, in order to go find a match, you have to say that I'm up for having a match.
Okay.
And it's not really all that intuitive how you turn that option on.
Oh.
So I think there actually could be a good bit of users that don't even know how to turn that on as an option so that they can receive fight requests.
Okay.
So as of Saturday, which was 3 days ago now, as of Saturday, I was able to finally log in and play online. The matches I had, I have to say, were fun. That's why I said this is a mixed kind of review.
Sure.
The matches I had were fun. I got my ass completely stomped.
Of course.
As I would expect in a fighting game. Ken and Ryu are going to be the go-to guys, as we would expect, really.
Duh. Aren't they everyone's favorite?
They pretty much.
Unless, no, that's not necessarily true.
They
but
mostly represent the franchise.
Generally OP.
Yeah, oh man, they're super OP right now. Oh my god. But I felt like I could start to learn some of the mechanics and start to hold my own a little bit, especially as I learned some of the special moves, and it started to open up and become a fun game.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of potential here, but my overall thought, I feel like this is essentially like a late beta. It's not a polished, finished game, and I feel like they really missed out by not making this roster large. It's 16 players.
Is
not
there
that
any
much.
recurring revenue, or is it only sales?
It's only sales right now.
There's no subscription, nothing like that.
There could possibly be some microtransactions, but one of the things that's built into the game is you earn more stuff by playing it.
Okay.
So they may build some of that in later.
The only reason I even bring that up is it's kind of surprising to me. I mean, I've seen plenty of games launch before they're ready because, they want the subscriptions in order to be able to fund more development and stuff like that. Maybe they launched before they're ready because they didn't have enough money to actually finish stomping out the bugs. I don't know.
Could have been.
Because, you do have to make revenue from a game in order to make it not suck. But it's still, somebody as big as Capcom
Capcom's one of the heavy hitters of the industry.
Should have the budget to finish a game and make it not suck.
And it's their flagship title, right?
Yeah.
And especially with them trying to position this as the esports fighter.
Right.
In my opinion, Mortal Kombat is still a far superior game.
Yeah, and even I've played that.
So even you have played it.
Even I've played that.
Who'd you play? Who's your character?
I don't know.
A hot chick, a monster, or a ninja-looking dude?
Ninja dude.
Okay, so probably Scorpion, Reptile, Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
Okay,
there you
go.
Okay,
See, that's basically the categories of Mortal Kombat: hot chick, monster, or ninja
dude. Speaking of the hot chick in the background,
that's Cammy. That is my personal go-to favorite.
Of course it is.
Yep.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
She's hot, but she's actually a good fighter too.
Okay.
I don't just play her because she's hot.
All right, we're going to move on to your next game of choice, which is Hearthstone. And there's some new game mode that you want to talk about.
So, Blizzard is going the route of Magic the Gathering with Hearthstone.
The what now?
Magic the
No,
Gathering.
I know what it is, but like what?
I was like, give me your geek card.
Yeah, I know. No,
Okay.
I know what Magic is. You don't have to
Yeah.
explain that. I've never played it deliberately, but how are they going Magic? I don't get it.
So what they're doing is they are introducing something called Standard and Wild Mode. So this is something that Magic players will be very, very familiar with.
Okay.
So if you're going to play Magic at a serious level and go to tournaments, and mind you, Magic is a real-life card game, right? Like, you actually go buy cards.
Oh, yeah.
And
Hearthstone. People are obsessed with
exactly. Hearthstone is all digital. Now, one of the reasons Magic survived through the years, you got to understand, there are, I think, multiple tens of thousands of cards available in the Magic the Gathering world. It's been around 20 plus years. It's huge.
Right.
Right? So you got to figure, so somewhere along the way from
And
a
there
developer
are people
perspective-
who go in on like huge batches of cards.
Yeah.
And the rares they bid on and stuff like that.
All
and
kinds of stuff.
Just the sale, buy and sell of these cards is an industry in and of itself.
It truly is.
It's crazy.
It truly is. So from a developer perspective, you got to think like, so 15 years ago, let's say we had some kind of a mechanic in Magic the Gathering.
Right.
And let's say that even for its time, it might have been relatively OP.
Okay.
And then let's say 15 years later, we release a new expansion pack, and some mechanic in there doesn't jive very well with that old mechanic from 15 years ago. Okay. So that's kind of the idea, because Blizzard is starting to release enough expansions for Hearthstone that it, developmentally over time, it's going to start to be a little bit of an issue. So what they're doing and what Magic has done, so they're taking cues from Magic, is saying there's a standard version where only the most recent expansions of the card metagame will be included in play legally. So,
Right.
so for instance, only the expansions that have been released in the last year, for instance.
Okay.
So, and this is a good
that's,
thing.
That's weird.
It's odd.
I mean, I'm not against it, but that's very interesting.
So Magic already does this. When you go to play Magic tournaments for like actual money, you're gonna play standard, or whatever name they have for it.
Right.
And then there's other versions where it's sort of like, hey, I got this cool card from 15 years ago. I love it in my deck. I'm just going to play. Is that cool? And then people sit down and just play for fun. Right? There are even tournaments that support that type of play as well.
Okay.
So you can go either route, but the idea here with standardization is that you're not going to have cards that remain in play that are completely OP that also don't jive with current cards. It also gives the developers a lot more room to highlight and focus on, say, hey, this is how we want the metagame to go right now.
Right.
We want these types of mechanics to be prevalent. We want these kinds of things to happen overall in the course of our game. And that card from 2 years ago, or that set of cards, doesn't really fit in our vision. So it would disable Blizzard from being able to develop that new set if they still allowed those cards in there.
Well, and not to mention the fact that it keeps the game new for everyone.
It keeps it new and fresh, and really
pushes. To me, that's a big deal.
It's
like
huge.
if you don't have, especially that genre.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good mix of a good evolution of the game throughout time, then everybody's going to get bored, and that's why World of Warcraft gets updated every 2 years.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, that's the whole reason for that is so that there's new content that brings people back in and keeps them engaged. Even though I haven't touched it in like 5 years.
ASO for the win.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm really excited. I think it's a great move on Blizzard's part.
Right.
I think it's going to keep a lot of players going where they could have lost folks. It also is going to provide new players. Like, you don't play Hearthstone, but if you wanted to, you wouldn't be outmatched by me just because I've been collecting cards for the last 3 years. Right?
Yeah.
You could play me at standard because only the most recent cards and a base set are going to be allowed.
But I'd still have to have, like, you're still going to own me if I don't play at least somewhat. I can't play as a noob and win.
But it's going to give you a much better opportunity, especially as time goes on, because now we're only talking about, 3 or 4 years or something?
Right.
Maybe not even that long for Hearthstone. But in 10 years, Blizzard intends to keep this game going.
Right.
So in 10 years, I've got 10 years of history on you, right?
I hate you.
I've got a massive deck, right? Massive, expansive cards to choose from and do whatever I want with.
Yeah.
Whereas standard, I would only have the last year if I intend to play you.
Cool.
So, really cool stuff.
Dig it. All right, let's talk about one of mine. This is called Firewatch. Firewatch is a new game that's out for, I believe, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Mac. If I'm not mistaken.
$20 on Steam.
Steam is where you should be buying it. Honestly, if you've got a PC that can play a half-decent game, it's great. It's not stupid high-resolution graphics, so it's not like you're missing out by playing on a less powerful computer. Playing it on the console is, I'm sure, just as good as playing it on a PC. I played it in 4K, and it didn't matter. So,
it's like cel-shaded graphics, right?
It's... Yeah. I would say that's close.
Kind of an animated sort of feel.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not sure that that's the specific artwork they went with, or not. But that, yeah, yes,
Same
concept.
kind of feel and
Yes,
look.
very
Yeah,
much so.
Yeah.
As you can tell by the graphic behind me, that is very much the kind of thing that you got. Turn the other way. There we go. This is the main character. Oh, I'm probably not on the audio there.
Probably not.
The guy behind me is the main character, and I really can't tell you much about the story because the game is the story.
Yeah.
There is nothing to this game besides the story. And the funny thing is, we're going to talk about 2 story-based games on the podcast today. Firewatch being the first one. The thing that for me saves this game from being dreadful and from being
dreadful.
Wretched.
Wretched.
No, hang on. Seriously though, if you took a lesser story and put it on this game, it would be dreadful.
That's what I was afraid of. Looking at it, it just looked like I wandered around a forest and picked up camping gear or something.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes.
Okay.
That without question, that is what happens. So you're basically you're a Firewatch. That you're a park ranger of sorts in the wilderness. I believe it's technically Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, the Rocky Mountains somewhere. And you talk to this chick in the tower way up there. That's all you do.
That's pretty much the mechanic. You have a voice on the other end of this walkie-talkie.
And they tell you what to do.
They tell you what to do,
and you
unravel something.
Yeah, you unravel a mystery of sorts.
Yeah.
Something's going on, and you are essentially caught in the middle of it, and you need to figure it out. All the while, there are fires surrounding you as well.
Okay.
So, I can tell you without spoiling really anything, you do get evacuated at some point. But that's all I would really say, because telling you that happens doesn't affect the story at all.
Okay.
The story is essentially everything up until that point.
Okay.
And then a little bit after it, but that's less important. The reality is the graphics are fun. The mechanic is it's not terrible. It's basically a first-person shooter without any guns, because everything is in first person. And you go around and pick stuff up and try and figure things out and go here, do this, go there, do that. All the while you're having an AI-based conversation with the chick in the other tower. And the reasons you're there, the backstory that it talks about, all of that kind of stuff, just, I don't know, to me it kind of messed with my head.
Really?
It was a powerful story. Because they chose a backstory that almost anyone could relate to at this point.
Really?
Yeah, almost anyone.
All right.
So it's worth the $20 to play it.
How long can I expect to be in this game?
Not that long.
No.
So the developer claims that it's a 6-hour game. That you should be able to get 6 hours of entertainment out of this one game. For $20, that's not bad for 6 hours.
Okay.
However, I completed the whole game in about 4 hours, and that's by doing everything. And I wasn't rushing. I still enjoyed myself.
4 hours.
And it only took me 4 hours to go start to finish.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know any game I've played in 4 hours.
And that's the thing is, think about creating 4 hours of constant storyline. How much effort that would take.
Okay.
Because, like I said, this game has nothing besides the storyline.
Yeah.
There's maybe a couple 5-minute periods where you're just left to listen to some music in the background going from point A to point B.
Okay.
That's maybe 2 or 3 times in that whole time frame.
Wow.
Otherwise, there's story the whole way.
Wow.
So it's an awful lot of story. not in a bad way, but it is definitely something that I'd say is worth the $20 to play the game. I didn't buy the extra sound, well, because you can buy the soundtrack thing as an extra $5 or something like that. I didn't care.
Meh.
Nah.
Meh.
That wasn't bad music, but I honestly didn't hear that much music because the times where I'm just out walking about, I'm going somewhere.
Right.
And when I get there, it stops and I go back to the
Yeah.
conversation. So, was it predictable? Yes and no. There were maybe 2 twists in there that I didn't guess. Everything else is like you're piecing things together. You kind of have your theories throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, worth the $20.
Cool.
And you can finish on a Saturday night.
And that's cool. I do appreciate all this experimentation going on in the industry right now with stuff
Right.
like that. Like a game like this would not have caught on 5 years ago.
No, not at all. Well, and that brings me to this next game, which is called Lifeline. Lifeline is also a story-based game, but significantly more choose your own adventure
I like
than
that stuff.
than Firewatch is, because Firewatch, you're gonna get to the same end result no matter pretty much what you say at any time. You could piss off your counterpart, or you can make them love you. Like, that's kind of a trend throughout the game for Firewatch. But within Lifeline, in and of itself, I was just introduced to this maybe a month ago.
Okay.
And I played obsessively. The very
Really?
first one. So there's Lifeline, like a Christmas version, and then there's Lifeline 2 called Bloodline. So there's 3 mobile apps. I think they may even be iOS only. I'm not sure. I'd have to actually go back and check that, but we'll link to it in the show notes, and if there is an Android version, we'll send you there. But it's a text-based story app. That's all it is.
Text.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so
it's
you just took me
text-based.
back 20 years of gaming.
Yes, I did.
I did that stuff.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's a text-based story game.
Wow.
And the thing about it is you could be going for days the wrong direction,
What?
only to die.
What?
Yeah. Straight up. You can spend days doing this because it's meant to be, you make a decision, and then the person you're talking to at the other end of the lifeline, if you will, goes and does the suggestion that you made. And it can take them anywhere from an hour to 6 hours, depending on what the task is and all that kind of stuff. And so it just sends you a phone notification when they're ready to go again.
Okay, so this is a text-based phone game.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's entirely notification based. Like, if you die, then that's only if you die does it turn on fast mode. So what fast mode then would do is, if you die, you can rewind the story and use fast mode in order to continue going through it, so that you don't have to spend another 3 days going the wrong way again.
Okay.
I did, to put it to you this way, my first run through of Lifeline, original, the very first game, took me days to do it, probably 3 or 4 days to do it, because I never died.
Okay.
And that was not the case with any of the other ones. The other ones, both the Christmas story and the Bloodline story, they're separate apps, and you can get them for a bundle and all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't played them, play them all.
Yeah.
The other ones, I died relatively quickly in, and it still took me probably 2 hours to finish the story, from start to finish, doing everything perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah. So it takes a while to get through everything. And that's only if you get it perfect. Like the one that I had the most trouble with was actually the holiday app, and I had to just essentially go back and then keep going back, die, go back, die, go back a little further, die, go back a little further again, die. Okay, screw it. I'm going to start over, die.
Oh no.
And I just kept dying. And I'm like, you know what? This almost isn't fun anymore. And then at one point, I just decided, hey, I'm just going to be a jerk. And I didn't die. I completed the story while being a jerk.
And the moral of the story.
I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm nicer than that. But every time I was a nice character and I suggested the nice things and what I would consider the ethically correct things, I died.
Wow.
So anyways, that doesn't necessarily spoil it. It kind of spoils it because it kind of gives you a hint as to how to not die. But the actual... It's amazing to me how in the age of 4K and amazing graphics and all that kind of stuff, a simple text-based game can intrigue me so much and keep me so
I really like that.
invested.
You know, I think one of the better things that it sounds like it does too is the notifications aspect.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I noticed with games on mobile is that I'll play them for a little bit, and then I kind of forget that they're there.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right? Like, I'll get on my phone to check Facebook the next time I'm on it or whatever.
Yep.
I won't get back on to play that game.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not a dedicated gaming machine, right?
Yep.
So I think the notifications kind of keeping you involved is a neat idea.
It makes it interesting because it's not a game that you have to sit and play in a 2-hour experience or anything like that.
Yeah.
In fact, when you turn on fast mode, it says this is not how the game is meant to be played. But if you really want to play it in fast mode, you can.
Gotcha.
But again, you have to die before that happens.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's Lifeline. Let's talk about the last thing we're going to talk about here. And that is Elder Scrolls Online. I feel like we talk about that in every episode we've ever done.
Because Elder Scrolls is awesome.
It's pretty sweet. Minus the fact that they shut down my guild and tried to... well, they did take all my bank space and all that kind of stuff because I cheated the system.
What'd you do?
It doesn't explicitly say that it was against the terms of service, but they claimed it was. And I'm like, can you give me a line that says that what I did was against your terms of service? And they're like, do you want us to shut down your entire account? Ooh. And I'm like, okay, well,
We got
okay,
the keys.
fine, just kill my guild. I don't care. So the whole guild got killed. The guild bank is gone. All of the extra perks that we had is gone, and it's because I went and set up, because I've had various people in and out of my guild over the course of the last 2 years. There was a free-to-play weekend. So
sure.
I wasted a bunch of my time. I'm not going to tell you how much because I'm a loser.
In and around the entire 48 hours of the weekend, I'm imagining.
No, it wasn't that much. But I did create essentially placeholder accounts for the guild. Because at one point I had enough guild members in the guild and then some to have the guild bank active and all that kind of stuff. And, then I let it sit and die for a while and said, okay, well, maybe I'll play it every now and then. And so now I'm playing it again every now and then. I've been finishing up all my crafting buffs and all that kind of stuff and wanted my bank because honestly it's really hard to level your crafting without a ton of bank space. Tons of bank space. So I, during the free-to-play weekend, created 10 characters for free, had them join the guild, so I got my bank back.
Okay.
And, I have more than that in the guild, but I wanted to make sure that I always had 10 players in my guild in order to keep the bank active no matter who was in and out of my guild at any given time.
Right.
They didn't like that. I was like, hey, I'm really smart. And Monday morning comes around after the free-to-play weekend's over, and they're like, looks like you created a bunch of duplicate accounts. We're going to have to suspend everything. And I'm like, let's not do that. And so I had a little argument with them, and they said, no, you have 24 hours to get everything out of the bank, or else it's going away. And I'm like, okay,
All right.
which is just really mean. It's just really mean. There's no reason for them to do that besides it being a money grab, because and here's why. As a character, I have limited bank space.
Yeah.
You cannot have more than, I think it's 240 slots
Something like that.
in a character's bank. And the guild bank comes with 500. And if you are leveling every profession, like I am with one of my characters, you cannot do it and have every item within those 240 slots.
Right.
So you basically have to have a guild bank in order to be able to properly level your characters and all that kind of stuff. And they just don't care.
Jerks.
And I'm just like, if I could have maybe the extra 60 spaces and do it in 300, I could probably make it work. But there's a cap as to the amount of bag space that you can have. Not to mention the amount of gold that it costs to do 240 bags is stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, you can buy 10 bag spaces at a time for I think it's $10 a piece. So it's like
Whoa.
$1 per bag space.
Whoa.
If I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Damn.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
But anyways, they killed my guild. I recreated it the second they killed it, because the name was available, obviously.
Right.
So the guild is back and it just doesn't have a bank, and I'm like, that's lame.
That is lame.
But it's still a fun game. It's still a game that I really enjoy playing in 4K. The graphics are surprisingly good for an MMO.
Such a beautiful game.
It really is. It's like Skyrim on crack.
It's so beautiful.
And it looks so good in 4K that I don't have, even Fallout 4. I have Fallout 4, and I was playing that, and it can't go high enough to take advantage of my screen.
Yeah.
Because my screen does 4190 or something. It's slightly over 4K.
Yeah.
And Fallout just can't do it. And not everything in Fallout actually works right in 4K. And I'm like, Fallout just came out October.
Yeah.
And
November?
Maybe, you're right. It was probably November. And it's still not 4K compatible. And Elder Scrolls has been since I tried.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's a game that's ahead of its time in many
Truly
aspects.
And speaking of, we got new content coming out.
We
for
do.
It too, don't we?
Do. The Thieves Guild is going to be available soon. March 7th for PC and Mac. And then 22nd for Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 is available on the 23rd. So March is basically launch. They're going to bring up their mega servers and get them ready to go on the computer side first, because honestly they have significantly more players on PC and Mac.
Yeah, understandably.
It's an MMO.
Yeah,
I don't want to play an MMO on my console.
If I had to, before I got my gaming rig,
Yeah.
I actually bought Elder Scrolls on the PS4.
What?
Just so that I could have it reliably, because
Lame.
it's going to work on the PS4,
Yeah.
period, regardless of what my specs are, because they're all the
It's
same,
true. Yep.
right?
Yep.
So once I got my gaming rig, though, I just went and sold it. So,
There's no point in even playing with the PS4 at this point, because
Yeah.
it just looks so much better on a computer. It's not
Yeah.
even funny.
yeah.
But the Thieves Guild, if you're familiar with any of the Elder Scrolls lore, is something that has been in pretty much every game Elder Scrolls has put out. I'm pretty sure it's been in every game. It was one of the best quest lines in Skyrim, and Elder Scrolls has had the outlaw, bandit stuff and whatnot from. It's probably since the second iteration of the game, when they created justice system, where stealing was actually bad.
Yeah.
When the game first came out, you could steal anything you wanted with anyone looking, and nothing happened to you.
Wow.
It was pretty great. I made a lot of in-game gold back then.
Right.
And now you can make a ton of in-game gold by selling and fencing stolen items. Well, all of that's going to evolve with the Thieves Guild. I'm still not exactly sure how they're integrating
Yeah.
it because
Is it kind of like going to be like the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild sort of a thing?
well, it has its own dedicated city for the most part.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't. I'm. My understanding is that the Outlaw Refuge, in each major city, will end up becoming Thieves Guild hubs, or at least have a Thieves Guild vendor within them.
Okay.
And I've watched a bunch of pre-development YouTube discussions from actual ESO developers, just talking about what it's going to be, and most of it was just like, hey, there's this new storyline, there's new graphics, there's new locations, all of that kind of stuff, new character models, all of that. It's a very elaborate addition to the game, and I'm excited for it, but I'm sure there are people who are significantly more knowledgeable and more excited about it than I am. Because I just don't know exactly how elaborate it will be.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. Is like, I mean, is it just going to amount to basically a little bit of a storyline, and you kind of level up some skills through like the Fighters Guild, and Mages
There
Guild?
are additional skills available, yes, like Fighters Guild and Mages Guild.
And then, if I'm part of the Thieves Guild, is that going to affect me in normal towns? Like, am I going to be basically an outlaw and treated as such and arrested on sight and all that kind of stuff?
No, I do not believe so. There are. I think there's a specific. I don't know if it's specific gear that you have to wear when you're doing Thieves Guild stuff.
Okay.
I think if I remember correctly, that's what it was.
Okay.
There's a costume that comes with, and I think that I know that it's a costume because it comes. You still have all of your gears, essentially powers and stuff like that, but you end up donning the Thieves Guild, outfit or whatever, and I think that is like your. Okay, now I'm a thief. Now I'm not, kind of a thing. I don't know the exact specifics of the mechanics, but I do know that there's a new skill tree for the Thieves Guild, and they definitely do recommend maxing out your Legger domain. Legger, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Okay.
It's a skill tree that exists now
Okay.
that helps with stealth and pickpocketing and all of it, basically stealing stuff.
Gotcha.
And they say that there is some tie into that, but they are separate skill trees.
Okay.
At least that's my understanding.
Okay.
So check it out. We'll link to probably a few YouTube videos of the developers talking if you want to hear more about Elder Scrolls Online, but that's all the time I'm going to waste on that right now. Did we miss anything?
No, that's everything, man.
All right.
Not
Well,
bad.
I think we didn't meet our 30-minute goal.
No.
That was more
Little
like
over.
a 40-minute goal. It is what it is.
Doing better, though. It's not 90.
No, it's not 90. We also had a lot of stuff to get through, and I went off on a tangent for a long time. So,
You tangent boy.
anyways, thanks for watching and listening. If you're listening to the podcast, I am Josh Carr, the editor of eciov.com, and I've got Sean Caspian. Say hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
You would. Check him out at youtube.com/TheSeanCaspian. And otherwise, you can see all of the notes and links. We'll link out to everything we talked about here on our website. You can get to this episode directly by going to eciov.com/GG/7.
GG.
GG.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Later.
All right.
We're still alive.
If anybody's actually watching on YouTube, we're going to be done now.
We're actually still alive. This is really awkward.
What are we?
I'm naked below the table.
No, he's not. I wouldn't allow that. Never.
Want me to show you?
No. Stop it. Ew. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't no